As they say, when it rains, it pours. And on the same day that Toyota has revealed its brand new Land Cruiser Prado, Toyota Australia has also ripped the covers off a pretty significant upgrade to the 70 series Land Cruiser, way up the other extreme of the Land Cruiser range. The 70 series continues to be a much loved and venerable part of the Land Cruiser lineup here in Australia. And in fact, Australia and the Land Cruiser are in many ways synonymous. And when an Aussie thinks of a Land Cruiser, I would bet you many of them would think of the 70 series. But even a vehicle which has run for decades does have to keep pace a little bit with regulations and what its customers are wanting. So today I'm going to tell you exactly what Toyota has done, and it can be summarized as more safety, a new 4-cylinder engine, and shock horror, for the first time ever for a 70 series, an automatic transmission. But the first answer I'm going to give you is why Toyota has done this. I think the question of the why is a really interesting one, because the 70 series is not a modern vehicle and its buyers typically haven't wanted modern features like an automatic. This vehicle has a years-long wait list, so it doesn't seem to me that people are crying out for change. But that's exactly the point. Toyota can secure a better supply of the new 2.8 litre turbo diesel 4-cylinder engine, which is now going to sit alongside the continuing 4.5 litre single turbo V8 in the range. The difference, the 2.8 diesel 4-cylinder is exclusively paired to a 6-speed automatic transmission, whereas the 4.5 litre V8 is not getting an automatic. It's continuing as a 5-speed manual transmission only. So both options will be available, with one big catch. Last year, Toyota paused orders indefinitely for the V8 Land Cruiser 70 series, and that pause has not been lifted today. You still cannot order a V8 70 series Land Cruiser in any body style due to overwhelming demand and poor supply. So what Toyota is doing is they're bringing the 4-cylinder engine to the party to try and alleviate the waitlist. And people who are currently on the waitlist for the 4.5 litre V8 are going to be given first dibs to convert their order into a 2.8 litre diesel 4-cylinder with the automatic transmission. So if what you really want is a 70 series as soon as possible, and you're not completely tied to getting your 70 series with the V8, you're going to be able to take delivery much sooner, because the 4-cylinder version is going to arrive in the fourth quarter of 2023. So sometime between October and December of this year. So your Christmas present could be arriving a lot sooner. Now, I say Christmas present because an interesting point about the buyers of the 70 series is that insiders claim to Chasing Cars that large fleets are no longer buying 70 series in the numbers that they once were. And in fact, most of the demand here in Australia at this time is actually private customers, maybe doing their own builds, and also small businesses who have a fascination for the 70 series. There are still some very large enterprise customers who may be purchasing directly from Toyota, but that's with a completely different tune of the V8 engine without a turbocharger at all. So for private buyers, they're lining up to buy the 70 series, and it's no surprise that what they want is the very traditional V8 engine and the manual transmission. So it remains to be seen how much private buyers and small businesses, who typically like to pick and choose the precise car that they want compared to big fleets, how much are they going to take to the 4-cylinder? If you're in the queue right now, I want you to let me know. Would you consider going for a 4-cylinder 70 series if you could get your car much more quickly than waiting for a V8? Now, what are the specifics of the engine? Well, it's basically the current Hilux engine, not the new 48-volt mild hybrid. I think mild hybrid in a 70 series is probably just a step too far. I think people's brains would explode at that idea. The 2.8 litre produces 150 kilowatts of power, so that's 1 kilowatt down on the V8, but it makes 500 Newton meters of torque, which is 70 Newton meters more than the V8. However, the V8 is still the more flexible engine. As this chart that I'll put on screen shows, it does have a broader spread of peak torque, even though it's only making a little bit less torque than the 4-cylinder. As I mentioned before, the 4-cylinder gets a 6-speed auto, the V8 gets a 5-speed manual, and they're both true 4-wheel drives in that sense. This is definitely not an SUV. It is a hardcore 70 series Land Cruiser with a true body-on-frame platform. But that is not all that's new. Perhaps the most controversial element, even more than the 4-cylinder engine, is the adoption of a new face. Now, these headlights, you're either going to love them or you hate them. They're basically a reference to the 40 series Land Cruiser. You could even say that the American version of the new Prado, which does get round headlights in the base model, that's also a bit of a reference to the 40 series. It doesn't look like our Prado is going to get round headlights here in Australia, but the 70 series will, so you can let me know down below whether you love or hate this new headlight design. Moving inside, there has been a refresh to the interior, nothing too drastic, but there's now a 6.7-inch touchscreen with wired Apple CarPlay, which is going to move the smartphone mirroring game forward, I guess, a little bit. Plus, the 70 series also picks up the automatic transmission shifter from the 300 series Land Cruiser if you go for the 2.8-litre diesel 4-cylinder option. There's also some additional safety features that have been added across the lineup as part of a small upgrade to the Toyota Safety Sense system. This includes lane departure warning and a speed sign detection function, and all 70 series Land Cruisers picked up AEB, detecting cars, pedestrians, and cyclists last year in 2022. Now, there's really only one quirk in the range when it comes to what specifications you can order with the two engines that are now on offer. You can basically have all of the body styles with the 4-cylinder and all of the body styles except one with the V8. You can't get a Workmate wagon V8 anymore. If you want the 5-door wagon, you have to get it as a GXL if you're going to insist on the V8. Now, pricing has not been announced. That could be the clincher, right? You might be interested in converting your order if the price was right. Now, those prices are going to have to be announced pretty soon because the cars are going to start turning up in like 2.5 months. So I'm sure we will know how much the 4-cylinder 70 series and V8 70 series are going to cost for 2024 quite soon. But for now, I'd love to know your initial impressions. So please let me know down below. What do you think of the first 4-cylinder 70 series in 32 years? Well, let me know your opinion, subscribe if this has been valuable, and thanks for watching Chasing Cars.